Let's talk more Priority Self-Pub, this time ebooks. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, yes, we're talking about my top 10 Priority Self-Pub, the ebook half. We did the physical half. And the last one, I realized, like I said, I have so many self-pub things that I'd like to get to this year. Hopefully I'll get to most, if not all of them, but we'll definitely see because I've now made 3 different priority lists for books and series, and there's only so much I can get read during years, so some things definitely will not make it, which always happens, but here's some ones that I will be focusing on. So these are going in no particular order, but we'll start with No Heart for a Thief by James Lloyd Doolin. Now this one, I actually was sent an e-arc by the author, and the book is now, it's out now. At this point, and I at the time even, I told him up front, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to get to this by the time it releases, because I'm a little behind on review copies. But he had sent it, and then also a link to like the first chapter, and I read, and it was written well, and it's like it has to do with a group of people who basically like steal magic from other people, and so it sounded really interesting. And then after I'd agreed, I'm like, okay, this sounds pretty cool. I've heard just a lot of people raving about this one that have really, really loved it, so definitely excited to give that one a try for sure, and see what all the fuss is about, because I thought it sounded pretty good myself as well. Definitely will want to get to it. Next up, we have Starbinder by Mark Timoney. This one, at least, is a novella, should be pretty easy to get to. And this is a prequel that goes along with The Blood of the Spear, following, I assume, looking at Chalet, or I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, even from reading that book, but one of the groups of magic users from there. And I really enjoyed The Blood of the Spear quite a lot. It just had a lot of classic fantasy kind of feel, but in a more modern, fast-paced environment written. So really excited to get this one as well. I do have my copy of that also that I'm excited to get to also. Then next, we have a series I've had for a while on my Kindle, and there are a few on here where I'm like, I've had this for a while and I just have not gotten to it. But there's going to be a buddy read that some people are going. And yes, mostly I will just say this is 100% Boiled Jellyfish. If you're watching this is because of you, which is the Emaneska series, the first book written by Ben Galley. I've not yet read any Ben Galley, and I've heard a lot of people have enjoyed his stuff. And Boiled Jellyfish in Discord has recommended this one to me quite a lot, and I found out recently 2 copies of it, because I've had the individual ebooks for a while, and then I got the new combined version as well, and so I actually have 2 copies of these books, and so definitely no excuse not to get to them. So we'll be starting that in March with a buddy he's setting up for that, so excited to give those a shot as well. Next up then, and one of the quite a few on here that are recommendations from Andrew, because which granted I know most people who watch Andrew also, that's where they get most of their self-pub recommendations as well, but is No Land for Heroes, and that is by Cal Black. And this is supposed to be like a Gaslamp Western type of fantasy. And Andrew's done a few of those, and on my physical list I had some of these as well, but just the idea of fantasy Western sounds really interesting, so I've been curious to kind of try some of those. So that's really why that's on here, just for that. I know Andrew enjoyed it, and it sounded pretty interesting, and so I do have an ebook copy of that as well. These are all things I have copies of, I should specify, and that's why they're on the list, because if I was doing ones that I might get, that would be an even longer list, so we cut this to 10, so keeping it safe there. Next up then is In the Orbit of Sirens by T.A. Bruno, which is there's finally, I think that actually might be the only sci-fi one that's on this list, so I do plan to continue reading more sci-fi, but especially with doing SPSFC, reading a ton of self-help sci-fi. I didn't put a ton on this list because I've already been doing those, and we'll be continuing with that competition. But so this one also, I've heard a lot of great things about. We got a lot of people in Discord who are big fans of it, and just kind of the premise, it's humanity on like a hostile world that they have to try and deal with, and everything I've heard about it sounds really interesting, and I've been so curious to continue trying more sci-fi, so another one I will be excited to get to. Next up, we have Memories of Blood and Shadow by Aaron S. Jones. Also very highly recommended from Andrew. He said this is kind of like similar to Name of the Wind, but he liked this better. I still haven't actually read Name of the Wind, but I've always been curious, like prose-wise. It sounds like something I would like, at least that part of it, but if it ever gets published, I'll read it. But that's neither here nor there. So this one just sounds like it's really well written, kind of follows some of those things, and so I thought it'd be interesting to try this one and see how I feel about this, and if I like it or not, to kind of show them like, oh, maybe I will like or won't like Name of the Wind. Who knows? I'm not going to base trying that on this, just for the record, but I figured that'd be an interesting experiment to see. Then next up we have another one, and this one has been a long time recommendation from Andrew, and I also have had on my Kindle for quite some time, is The Iron Crown by L.L. McCree, and this one I know involves like dragon spirits, and it just sounded really cool. It's one he loved, and he's read most of her stuff, and it just takes me so long to get to books sometimes, especially ebooks. I have a lot of them. Like, I have good reminders when I see the physical copies, but this is another one I've been meaning to get to, so definitely would like to get to this, at least this one book by this author this year, and then we'll see if I end up getting 2 more. And then next up, another one that I meant to, and everyone's talking about it, like the sequel's out now. I really want to read this. The author's great too. I've interacted with him a bunch, which is A Touch of Light by Tiago Abdallah. From a lot of what I heard about this, it sounds like it's going to be right up my alley, and I know kind of the tagline is like, what would you do to like bring a family member back or something like that, and the art and the kind of the style, and just this seems to have some pretty wide appeal. I've seen different people of very different tastes all really enjoy this book, and it's been one I have meant to get to for so long, and I've had the ebook for so long, and so hopefully that, or I might also, like, I've heard really good things about the audiobook now too, so maybe I'll do both at some point to try to help me read through quicker or something like that too. Which others of these, it's entirely possible if they have audio that I might end up trying that to do that too. I found doing multiple formats of the same book is kind of nice instead of doing different books in different formats like normal. So I might try that more this year and see if that helps me burn through some more books. We'll see. But excited to get to that one as well. And then the last 2 actually are ones I've had these ebooks on my Kindle almost since I got the Kindle because they were ones I'd heard a lot of people talking about before, and I haven't heard anybody talk about them in a while, but they're still ones I want to get to read. The first of those is Aching God by Mike Shell, which is the first book in the Iconoclast, I believe the series is called, and this is like you have your like retired person, and then it's something dealing with like haunted artifacts or something like that, is I think what it was supposed to be. Something to that degree. It's been a while. Like I said, I used to remember what it was about. But this is one too that I know Andrew read, and hearing the descriptions of it just sounded really, really interesting and kind of a good draw in. So excited to get to this one. And then the second one, which I know a ton of people loved, and I remember hearing a lot about this a while back and not as much lately, but Kings of Paradise by Richard Nell, which this was one of like the popular kind of grimdark ones. It's supposed to have like a lot of the different evil characters, like I think like crippled but like really intelligent person over here, and they're trying to like conquer a different kingdom or something like that too. Another one where at the time I'm sure I remembered exactly what it was about, but it's been a long time. It's one of like the earliest things that's been on my Kindle, so it's been quite a long time as well. So that's another one. And so these are all books that, like I said, I don't know what order or when exactly I'll get to these, but all things that I really would like to read. And just some of the self-pub books that I have ebook copies of already that I definitely want to get to. So let me know on all these. Most of these I feel like are fairly well known. Like I said, a lot of them I've heard things about over time or seen recommendations from other people. So let me know your thoughts on these. As always, you can definitely try to convince me which ones I should bump up and read in what order, because I'm very susceptible to that for stuff like this, especially since some of them I barely remember what they're about. So yeah, let me know, as always, your thoughts there. Of course, make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the link in the description, as always, for the Wizardly Duo Discord if you want to chat books, whether these books, other books, any books, really anything at all. It's a lot of fun and we'd love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.